This is Combat Overview. In this series of videos, I go over, well, just that, the combat. To be a visual manual in a way and give a more in-depth look into what a game has to offer. Because too many reviews gloss over gameplay, calling it a button masher, or giving it a blanket statement. It's like DMC. Alright, let's get started. X will swing your sword, and this is pretty much your main form of attacking. There's actually no limit to this, so you can keep pressing X and it'll loop back into itself. Initially, the sword does start slow, but as your combo meter gets higher, attacks become faster. But I'll get into that a little more later. An early upgrade you can get is when your sword is just out of range of an enemy, you'll automatically zoom towards them with this stinger looking move. Won't send them away, just brings you closer. Holding X will do this full swing around you, acting as a get off me tool, and to stop those enemies sneaking up from behind. Just keep in mind that its hitbox is only active on the sword, so an enemy can definitely find an opening in between them swings, and its recovery is pretty laggy, but its full upgraded version is pretty sick looking. Okay, I might have found some tech with this, so I noticed the sword would begin to glow blue before the full swing animation will play out. So on the wind up, I'll let go of X and the blue flame will stay. Now I make a big deal about this because as the combo gets higher, you get more powerful and it's represented by the sword. Yeah, we'll get there later, Right here, for example, you see me do it twice back to back. Not sure if it's just a visual glitch, but it's a fun extra layer of skill because this window is pretty small. So I do this to mix up the infinite attack loop. But hey, it looks cool, it feels cool, that's what it's all about, right? Okay, now let me go from something hype to just whatever. So we have this launcher, but it's just okay. So to do it, we have to press backwards from where you're looking with the left thumbstick and then backward plus X. Main reason I never use this because there's just no major follow-ups you set up here that you couldn't get any other time. It's good in the way that they can't attack or do anything in the air like back at you. But thing is, enemies rush you at all times. You can't get much started, and this launcher can't be cancelled from lights mid-combo. So you need to be in neutral, and yeah, just don't use it. Okay, real quick, enemies do adapt to your loop-in attacks by parrying you or blocking, which goes into our next tool. Y will guard break, stun enemies, and if you keep mashing, it'll send them flying. So no heavy attacks here, just another useful option. And going from lights to guard break is really quick, so if you notice them blocking, you can punish them as fast as you can react. And if you don't react fast enough, enemies will attack out of blocking. There's also an upgrade to charge it, doing a more powerful punch that's used best on more heavier enemies, where just one guard break punch is enough to open them up. Now if we wanted to block, we'll press B. While blocking, you'll auto turn towards enemies' attacks. I haven't seen my guard be broken from taking too many hits, but enemies will react to you being overly defensive by attacking with an unblockable attack shown by that purple aura. While unblocked, you can't walk around, but if you move the left thumbstick, you'll dodge in that direction. Dodge forward in X will do an attack follow-up, doing a jump attack. So we have this to help close in on enemies too. Now if you just hold B in a direction, you'll do dash steps. Nice way to get around the levels quick, but not really mid-combat. Now onto the fun stuff. By timing guard when an enemy attacks, we'll parry them. And if they're attacking you from behind or front, it really doesn't matter. You'll get the parry off, just as long as you get the timing. Also, you can get the parry off during the dodge forward attack, which is pretty sick. There's an upgrade to the parry to have an attack follow-up, and it looks pretty close to Power Geyser! This will send an enemy up and nearby enemies away. I like to do some slashes into the full hold X attack for some extra flash. You can also perfect dodge, letting you go into burst rush. They'll do some nice damage by mashing X. And when you get them back to back, it's actually pretty hype. And don't worry, the X attacks are cancelled with dodges. Doesn't matter if it's on hit, on block, whiff. This even works on bullets too. These enemies, for example, have a nice towel. This red laser will lock onto you, and once it disappears, it'll soon be followed by some shots, which they regret. The perfect dodge can be a bit weird at times, and instead of going into the rush, I did a parry. I guess it's a good example of the dodge's iframes, but either way, I was still rewarded for my timing, so it's not too bad. There's no dedicated lock on, but there's a pretty solid soft one here. Even though I'm looking away from an enemy, you can tell the game is giving Mondo a little nudge in the right direction. Now let's look at our HUD. So our health are these diamonds. Different looking for a health bar, but I dig it. And right below it is our blood meter. Now this has a few uses. And then these other yellow meters next to our main bars. Well, we'll get into that in a sec. Let's just go off and look at the combo meter. So like I mentioned earlier, landing hits will of course raise your combo, but there's this combo level shown by this number here. And as we land a certain amount of hits, it'll raise its level, and with each level, we'll attack faster, have a damage buff, gain more blood with each attack, and when we get a kill at max combo level, we'll go into a QTE, get to pick an upgrade of our choice. Yeah, it's a lot here too, so taking damage or letting this bar under your combo reset, your combo and resetting your speed, your attack power and all that. Also, attacking on block won't reset the combo timer, but since you're not landing a hit, the bar will continue to drop. So another reason to be ready to guard break. Back to that QTE, you have 4 choices. Either get skill up points for abilities, health upgrades, blood upgrades, or just basic health drops. Also, this red bar around it is just a timer. You don't have to line it up with the upgrade you want. And with these health or blood upgrades, it'll add to those yellow bars. And once it's filled, we'll get an increase to whichever one we decided to build towards. So we get to choose what we want to level up, which is pretty cool. These drops are found in breakable items too, so you don't have to be some combo god just to level up. Now we can use blood to heal ourselves by holding LB. This is super committal and laggy, so trying to get away with this mid-fight ain't happening. But the section of our blood meter shown by a Blossom Rose, we can insta-kill an enemy. They first need to be stunned, knocked down, or heavily damaged. To do this, we hold RT and press X. If you just hold the right trigger, you can pick your target, but don't stay here too long because it'll slowly drain your blood. So not only does this take an enemy out of the fight, an enemy killed with this will drop a nice split of upgrades. So you can either kill him now, if you have the meter, or keep him around to raise the combo level to get all those benefits. So the level of choice in what you want to do in each fight is pretty cool. Quick note, parries will instantly level up your combo. Attacks during burst rush won't give blood back to your meter, but this will add a ton of hits to your combo, which in turn level ups your how much blood you gain on hit. Now the last thing we use for blood, and onto what makes Killers Dead different, is this Mega Buster. We have different sub weapons, and it's even used kind of like RE4, kinda. Okay, so we aim with holding LT, we move camera with the right stick, shoot with the right trigger, which does consume blood to use. We can strafe, and there's some auto aim here to help us out. The basics, you know. And honestly, it's not too bad. It doesn't feel jank or slapped on. They definitely put some work on this. Not just how it feels, but how it's used in and out of combat. So let's test some things out on these jobbers. Shooting legs won't trip them. Shooting arms or body won't make them recoil. But if we're gonna be sharpshooters and aim at their head, we'll insta kill them. And enemies will have helmets on to counter this, but we can still set it up. Even in combat, there will be environments we can shoot and interact with. We can shoot signs to fallen enemies and shoot explosives to help crowd control. We also have this drill that takes some time to rev up, but it hard counters these shield enemies. It'll just shatter their shield, making them vulnerable. We can also use a drill to open up secret areas. We have an ice gun. This will slow enemies down, which is best used on the faster enemies, or you can just use it to keep enemies in check. Having shooting mechanics in a hack and slash game was pretty interesting to see and to mess with, but as I tested it, it's not as layered as I was hoping. These big guys, for example, they have a mounted gun on their shoulder. This could have been a good chance to do some Doom Eternal level enemy design, shooting a specific part of the enemy to limit their movement or the attack options. But if you notice, they do have this armor and it looks similar to the shields. While if you use a drill on them, it just destroyed their entire armor. So there's some level of stuff here, which is still pretty cool to be honest. And the last sub weapon is this charge shot that will damage anything and everything around it. Also, shooting these guys with the shield on their health bar won't take damage from your pellets, but can still be affected by other sub weapons. While aiming, you can still perfect dodge, and don't worry, enemies and bosses will dodge and try to punish you, which is something you can do to even bait out options too. So this isn't DMC2 level of shooting. I just had to make sure I made that clear. There's also Scarlet. She's a very helpful nurse. Funny, hiding around the levels, and when you find her, she'll refill your entire blood meter and you unlock new challenges. They're the mix of the kill all the enemies before the time limit, reach a certain combo, kill only this target in a crowd, that sort of thing. To unlock these sub weapons, you have to go on these dating mini games. Once you've won their heart and wooed them, you get a new sub weapon. And after beating the game, you unlock NG Plus in very hard mode. All past missions are accessible again and can be played on all difficulties with all your levels and upgrades intact. And yeah, that's Killer is Dead. It's stylish, has all the fun basics of parries and perfect dodges, a cool start of a concept, RE4 mixed with hack and slash gameplay, and of course, we gotta have our virtual fight at the end. But yeah, I definitely recommend stepping into the shoes of Mondo Zappa.
The job. Killer is dead.